Hello viewers, welcome to Top Notch TV. With you is Tr.Emis Njabani, a teacher of English and Literature, an examiner as well as an author. This session, we are going to look at our second last story from the anthology of Silent Song and Other Short Story. And our story today is titled Boyi by a Kenyan author called Gloria. So the setting of this story is in Mount Elgon. And the story relates to the clashes that took place in Mount Elgon concerning a land dispute in the year 2005. How relevant is this title to the story, our learners? So this story is titled according to the name of the main character in this story. The main character is called Boyi, and the story revolves around his life as well as his death, and how his life and his death affects the people closest to him. So we can clearly say that the title is relevant because the narrator or the person whose voice we hear in the story is actually the only sister of the character Boyi. We look at the characters. How many characters are brought in this short story? The main character is Boyi, the one who the story is titled after. Then we have the narrator. The narrator's name is not given, but we just refer to as the narrator, and the narrator is Boyi's sister. Then we have Baba. Baba is Boyi's father. Mama, Boyi's mother. Then we have relatives as well, and not relatives, sorry, but neighbors, and who also come as visitors or villagers to come and visit them, the people they mingle with during their day-to-day life, and so on. We also have a character by the name Matokei. Matokei is the leader of the militia group. The militia group that terrorizes people in this village. Then we also have the sergeant. Sergeant is the leader of the army that is sent by the government under the name Operation Okoa Maisha, that is meant to go and deal with the militia, or rather to restore peace in that village. Just like we always do, our viewers, we are going to look at this story according to the episodes. And this story, I have divided it into 4 episodes. The first episode is the demand of the militia. What were the militia demanding from the community or from the members of the community? Then the second one is life after Boyi joins the militia. So after Boyi is taken by Matokei, how does life change for his family members? Then the third episode is going to be Operation Okoa Maisha. From there, it's after the government sends armies to go and restore peace in Mount Elgon. And then our last episode will be Boyi's death. How does Boyi die, and how does his death affect people closest to him? So our viewers, we start with our first episode, the demand of the militia. Now, first, let's look at who the militia is, or who are these people that we call the militia. The militia was a group that was initially formed to protect the community. It was supposed to protect the interests of the community because the government had sent some surveyors to go and subdivide the Mount Elgon land so that part of the land can be given to the strangers. So the militia was formed in an attempt to stop that, the land being given to the strangers. So that is the militia. But now, as the events turn out, the militia turns against its own people. Instead of protecting them, now they start harassing them, they start killing them, and so on. So what were the demands of the militia? When the story begins, we are introduced into the leader of the militia, Matokei, together with other members of his group, visiting Baba. They visit Baba and they demand 40,000 Kenya shillings from him. And according to Baba, if a person or a family does not raise that money once the militia visits your homestead, then they kill every member of the family and they carry their ends on the stick. They also even had this belief that they also ate the ends of the victims that they killed, just like Idi Amin. But so they show up at Baba's house and they demand 40,000 Kenya shillings. 10,000 is supposed to be land protection fee. Yes, 10,000 is land protection fee, and then that 1,000 is betrayal tax. You might wonder, why is Baba being asked to pay betrayal tax? Whom did he betray? So the militia were not just visiting any compound. The militia were visiting the compound of the people in the community they felt that betrayed them. How did they betray them? Remember, at the beginning of the episode, I said that the militia were meant to protect the community from the government or the government surveyors who had the intention of subdividing the land and giving part of it to the strangers. Now, every member of the community or any member of the community who in any way assisted the government surveyors was termed as a traitor. So Baba and assisted the surveyors with a panga and a rope of makonge. So according to the militia, he was a traitor. He had betrayed his own community. That is why the militia was at his doorstep asking for 30,000 Kenya shillings as a betrayal fee or betrayal tax, together with 10,000 shillings as a protection tax. So protection was meant to protect him from the surveyors or from having his land subdivided and given to the strangers. So they show up, they ask for 10,000. Baba has no money with him. He tries begging the leader of the militia, gives him everything that he owned, even his best possession, something that he coveted, something like he treasured so much, his own gun as well as his Sony radio. Matokai says no. He tries to plead with him and tells him that the following day he would go sell his bull and then he would take the money to him. But what does Matokai say? That he did not wait until the following day before giving a panga and a rope of makonge to the surveyors. So why should he wait until Baba sells the bull for him to give the militia the 40,000? So Baba was left with no option. That's why he pushed Boyi into the arms of Matokai. He pushes Boyi into the arms of Matokai and tells him to hold on to the boy until he is able to raise 40,000 to pay for the taxes that the militia want demanding from him. So that's what we are looking at when we talk about the demand of the militia, that they would go to every person in the community they considered a betrayer or a traitor, and they would demand a tax from them. Failure to do so, they would kill all the members of the family. So Papa or Baba uses Boyi as the sacrificial lamb to save his entire family. And now our viewers, that takes us to our second episode. Sorry. Life after Boyi joins the militia, or life after Boyi is taken by Matokai. So Mama, just like any mother, is full of sorrow. She cannot understand why Baba would give Boyi to the militia, yet everyone in the village knew what the militia did to people. They would kill them, carry their ends on the sticks, or maybe just throw the bodies in the pit latrines or just in the liver. So Mama is behold herself with sorrow. She cannot understand. And Papa keeps on asking her, what was I to do? If I didn't hand over Boyi, and our learner's boy was a 16-year-old boy, if I didn't hand over Boyi to the militia, then the militia would have killed Boyi together with all the other members of the family. And so it affects Mama psychologically. She stops eating, she stops talking, and when she talks, it's just monologues, talking to herself. She becomes delusional and no one understands her. When the narrator, now Boyi's sister, prepares tea the morning after Boyi leaves, Mama is there reprimanding her, asking her why she has served all the tea, why she has taken all the tea and has left none for her brother. So the narrator tells her mother that Boyi is not coming back, and if he comes back, then I will prepare more food or more tea for him. So Mama is in denial. He thinks that Boyi will come back any moment, but the sister actually shows some acceptance that the moment you join militia, there is no coming back. So Mama, we can see the fear in her. Fear is also shown. Actually, this is the part where we are told that Mama did not start fearing right now. She even feared before the militia took Boyi, because every evening she remembered what her husband did to help the surveyors. She would block the sitting room door with sacks of maize and sacks of beans in order to prevent the militia from breaking into her house. So after Boyi is taken, the neighbors start coming to console them, to encourage them, give them stories that they know of so and so who left, and after a few years, a few days, they came back, to encourage them and actually show them some hope that their son would come back. And then after days went by, the visitors started now stopping coming in. So instead of many visitors like initially it would just come one person, and eventually nobody even bothered to come. So it was just Mama and the narrator and Baba. And now that takes us to Operation Okoa Maisha. But before I go to that, one of the things that Mama would do to cope with her pain or her suffering was tell stories of Boyi when he was small. He would tell the visitors how Boyi saved a marriage by confirming that a womb was not tied by a genie, and how smooth his skin was when she gave birth to him. So now that takes us to our next episode, Operation Okoa Maisha. So the government realizes that the situation is getting out of hand, and they need to stop the militia from killing people. They need to stop the militia from shedding innocent blood. So the government now sends an army, armed army, to go and restore peace in Mount Elgon. So this is why it's called Operation Okoa Maisha, to save the lives of innocent people that were losing, people who were suffering in the hands of the militia. So rumor has it that the Tr.Emis are coming, and everyone is excited to see them. The children line up on the road together with the elders to go see these militiamen, look at their uniform, smell their colognes that they said smelled of the smell of pork. And they assumed, this community was a little bit superstitious, they assumed that they wore colognes that smelled of pork to ward off evil spirits. So at this point, because of insecurity, normal life had been disrupted in Mount Elgon. Children were no longer going to school. Farmers were no longer clearing their fields. They were no longer planting. So the men would just sit under trees and gossip about the militia. The women would just sit down also and gossip about the militia, and the children would just play, or rather just go peep into the compound where the armies had settled in. So these are the people who are supposed to flush out the militia. The question is, do they succeed? Do they manage in flushing out the militia? Let us see that in our last episode. The last episode is Boyi's death. But before I go to Boyi's death, I want to look at some of the things that the militia used to do that does not fall under any of these episodes. Some of the things that militia used to do was kill people. We are told that the militia would kill people, put their ends on stakes, or dump their bodies on public wells or pit latrines. And also, if farmers planted maize, they would just go harvest the young cob, take the goats from their pens, and then they would go and eat them. That is what discouraged the farmers from clearing their fields. We also told that the militia would recruit young boys as young as 10 years old to join the militia. And once a boy is recruited or a new recruit joins them, they would be mandated to undergo a test so that it can harden their hearts and they cannot feel anything bad when they kill other people. So a new recruit or a recruit would be required to go back home and kill a relative. And that was meant to harden their hearts so that they feel no emotion when killing other people. Also, the militia were said to recruit young girls, and the young girls were supposed to go and cook for them. So they would go to a homestead if there is no young boy to recruit and they find a girl, they would just recruit the girl so that the girl can go and do cooking for them. So as a result of that, people started fearing for their lives. So what did most people do? There was mass exodus. People ran away from Mount Elgon. People sought safety in Bungoma and Uganda. So you can see the effects of this war in this community. Again, we are told that at some point, Baba stops believing in Boyi ever coming back. So him and his cousin decide to do a ritual that was meant to ward off the spirit of death. So they get a banana trunk and they wrap it using a green sheet and they dig a grave and they bury it. It is symbolically to show that they have buried Boyi, and the spirit of Boyi and the spirit of death should not get anywhere near their homestead. But Mama totally refuses to participate in that. She says according to her, Boyi would come back and she's not going to participate in a ceremony where she's going to escort away the spirit of her only son. She is still hopeful that Boyi is coming back, such that towards the end of the story, when lightning strikes a tree, according to Mama, it was a positive thing that lightning has struck the evil spirits of death and swallowed it. So Boyi will not die and Boyi would come back. But to the narrator, it was a different interpretation. It was a different symbol. It was a bad sign that actually, just like lightning has struck that tree and it has fallen down, so has Boyi's life. And then later on, that after that incident, now that's when you're taken to the last episode, Boyi's death. So how does Boyi die? When the Hamis come, they go into the caves, they go into the forest to flush out the militia. So they found, according to the person who brings the message, the newspaper with the message to Baba, they had found Boyi. By then, Boyi had really grown and had become Matokei's light and person. So they found Boyi inside one of the sacred caves. And they took him, they hoisted him into a helicopter, and it flew up, or it ascended. And when they got up there, they just threw him down without a parachute. So that is what shocks Mama. She keeps on saying, imagine, they threw my Boyi down without a parachute. So that is how Boyi dies. The family mourns his death. As the sister or the narrator goes to Boyi's bed, sleeps on it, she can smell the smell of Boyi and cries her heart out. It's the first time, according to the narrator, it's the first time she sees her father cry. A silent cry, where silver tears. She says that it was like two silver streams down Baba's cheek. Now, the funny thing is that Mama did not wail like she used to do. She was so composed, her voice was so calm. She would just turn to Baba and say, imagine them throwing my Boyi down without a parachute. She was so calm. She did not even slap Boyi's corpse because there was no corpse to slap. It seems like, according to this community, they would just slap. Whenever someone dies, they would just slap them, ask them why did they die, and ask the corpse questions while slapping it. But this practice, or this cultural practice, did not take place because there was nobody for mama to slap. And our viewers, that marks the end of our first session, the plot analysis of this short story, Boyi. Stay tuned in for our second episode on the same story, where we are going to look at the issues that emerge from the story, or rather the themes that emerge from the story, as well as an essay from our favorite revision book, English Guru, right here on Top Notch TV. Press that subscribe button. See you later. Bye.